working now with ICMS for 18 months, I think. Anyway, my career, I've worked in journalism and fashion media for many years. I write about it, I talk about it, I've covered shows around the world and all that sort of, I guess that, the glamorous stuff about fashion. But, I think the great thing that inspired me when once I was approached by Todd and Nicole to sort of come on board as the fashion mentor was to really understand and to talk about and myself learn more about the business of fashion. I think there's that beautiful one-dimensional element of fashion, which is the glamour. It's all of that. It's, let's go to so many parties. Let's, hopefully be front row of shows, all around the world. And, I've been very fortunate to do all of that. But that isn't what it is all about. It is pure business, of course, with a lot of glamour thrown in. So you can probably expect, if you do choose to go this way, there's no question, the experiences, the people you will meet are phenomenal. And already we've had a few people here for some of our masterclasses within the fashion industry. We've got a great slate of other names coming in to talk to, not just the fashion students, but, all of our degree students, because, I think that whole world of being within business, you have to understand it in order to then, create a career, whether it is sport management, event management, fashion, accounting. There were so many degrees that are happening here that I think what I find when I come here every time, there's an excitement about coming to ICMS. It's not just, oh, God, I'm going to uni, I can't stand it, can't go to uni. You actually feel really excited about coming here. And I don't know, I just have felt that ever since I've started. And we've got the most exquisite student here, but she's got some big news she's going to tell us later. And, of course, Nicole. Nicole, probably without Nicole, I would not be here because she is my... if ever I have an issue, which is usually a few, because, it's funny, having come from a world of, I guess, the corporate world, and talking about advertising and marketing and sort of the money side, making money within sort of the media, through advertisers and all that sort of thing. This is a whole new world to me, just to actually learn about sort of global brand marketing, getting brands out there, all of which we have probably our favourites or not our favourites, and that's what it is. It is about taking brands and branding them globally or nationally, and the same goes with with people. Now there are so many people who are their own brand, and I think that has become, particularly over the last 10 years within fashion, such an important element that these people who, sure, they're great designers, but then they've taken themselves and branded themselves in order to do other things. So I think that this whole sort of fusion of branding is very, very important. That's something certainly that I know all of you, if you choose, of course, to start, will learn. And for me, observing it, being in it, dealing with these two, and Todd, who is around somewhere, has been absolutely extraordinary. So anyway, I'm now going to invite Nicole up onto the stage, so she'll probably talk a bit more technically about things. Yes. And then the three of us are going to have a bit of a chat and a Q&A with all of you very soon. So thanks for listening to me, and I hope I see you on campus next year.
Thank you. Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, keep that, I think. Hello, everyone. Well done for getting here. It's 10:45 in the morning. And I'm very, very privileged to share the stage with two such accomplished and high achievers. We're high achievers in fashion, I think is the summary. So welcome to ICMS, and lovely to see you all. So I am the program manager here at ICMS for fashion and global brand management. I also wrote a large portion of the degree. And to give a little bit of a background, worked in retail strategy for about 20 years. So started my career at IBM, moved up and have worked with everyone from the DJs to the Myers to the super cheap autos, if you're inclined, right through into predominantly fashion and consumer brands. So I love it, I live it. You can pretty much, we were joking this morning, you can tell this is the cool degree. I have to look after marketing events, but we're pretty cool. We like to think so anyway. And this degree is quite unique to what you've seen in the market, and that's because we bring a lot of industry and know-how on what we've seen develop over the last few decades. So why? What makes a brand successful? Why would you even need to study a degree if you're interested in fashion? It's trying to identify market gaps, and that's what this degree helps you do. So it's about helping students learn how to assess a category, to look at who a consumer segment is, to identify gaps for success. And PE Nation came and did our very first masterclass with Melissa back, was it September? September, I think.
I know we were in lockdown.
Yeah.
We had masks on.
We had masks. We had masks.
It was on Zoom, yeah.
But at the very crux, they talked about this idea that they identified a gap in the market for athleisure wear that was also being able to go out, ladies who lunch wear. So, and they've become very, very successful. And these are the types of people that we bring into the degree all the time. As I said, we're high achievers, right? I'll let Julie talk more about herself, but we tend to see the fashion students, we do have a passion for business, and it is about bringing that passion of business with creativity, which is a really nice mix. So who are you? Of course you love fashion, but it is also a brand management degree, and I have lots of students going into general retail strategy as well, or advertising. It's about being a strategic thinker, and it is about that little creative flair. So business on top, creative on the bottom, right? Sometimes they swatch. I wear a lot of pink, so we have, we raise that flag quite strong. And what are the kinds of things that you can do with this degree? Like I said, it is a mix of a business degree, it is a marketing degree, it is a strategy degree. So, of course, you can own your own fashion business. And we recently, and I'll show you in a sec, we recently did a fashion week where it was all about starting your own business. You can be a buyer, you can be a brand strategist, you can be a planner, you can go straight up social media marketing and you just happen to love brands. And the great thing is, because you do get 6 elective units to do, you can do this degree and you can look across and say, well, am I passionate about marketing? Do I love hospitality maybe? Do I want to do more event spins? So there's lots and lots of flexibility. We also teach visual merchandising, and we found we have students that some go quite passionately into the fashion side and some go into the more operation strategic side. The learning is actually very flexible as well. We do make sure all our core business units are offered online, and we understand post-COVID, our lives are a bit different. So we have jobs now. And many of our students have actually started working full-time and said to us, look, how do I fit my study around my job? And we talk a lot about this mentorship, and we talk a lot about one-on-one program management, and I don't think I'm supposed to do this, but I have had students that were exceptional students saying to me, Nicole, I've secured a full-time job. It's my dream job. What can we do? And we've actually looked at the timetable and made sure we had evening classes to accommodate that. So there is a very personal relationship here when it comes to your study patterns. You can also do it full-time, which is 3 years, or acceleration. So you can study some units while you're doing your placement as well, if you're really interested in getting in the industry. But I'd say enjoy your study experience as much as possible. We're obsessed with grad capabilities. A large part of our jobs is making sure that we offer the best degrees that are accredited by TEXA. So we start backwards, hence I'm going to start backwards. We design all our courses based on graduate outcomes. So even a few months ago, I was trawling through jobs in the market, looking at what the grad outcomes were, and we sit there and go, okay, what is it do we need? What units do we need to update or introduce? Our assessments are very active. We don't really do exams, especially not in fashion. Everything is quite practically based and more of a mentorship approach. And we build our student portfolio. And it is all about getting you industry experience. So that when you graduate, you're not sitting there going, okay, I've worked at Coles and that's it. So you get good graduate experience. And if you haven't already, please have a chat to our internship team. So it's all about fast forward, what do our graduates need in the market? We had Chris Watney last year as well. He's a director of Dior, so he did another masterclass. So we're all about industry. Our beautiful Melissa helped us bring in Alex Perry. Now, Alex Perry is an icon across the world when it comes to fashion. And he talked about how do you actually do it? What does it actually take? We had our ICMS Fashion Week. Now, this is not part of the course, but listening to our students, they said, look, I don't want to do design, but I'd like to know a little bit more about it. So we did a 2-day intensive with Sal, and Sal is a champion of gender-neutral fashion design. She's won many awards. She has a PhD, and we all went to the Beckenbridge fashion show as well during Fashion Week, which was quite cool. So we're doing lots and lots of these things. We've had our Neil Perry, which I'm sure we'll talk about in hospitality as well, and we're bringing more. I'm especially interested, we're doing a Women in Business panel in about a month's time, which you're all invited to if you'd like to come. So we're very career focused. Just recently, we've had 90% of our students are employed in field. That has, it's been higher pre-COVID. It will be higher again. But we are obsessed with making sure that you have a good base in industry before you leave the degree. And when you're looking at the course structure, there are 26 units. It typically takes you about 2 years and 2 trimesters. So we have 3 trimesters in a year. And we have our core business unit, which is a great advantage because if you do start in fashion and you decide, well, actually, I love marketing, those cores carry across. And that's the beauty of our setup here. But you also get 6 specialization units that are dedicated to fashion. There's 3 more fashion electives, or you could pick electives across any program, as I said before. So there's a lot of diversity, and we have 2 will subjects. So for 2 trimesters, you're doing internship. Now, typically internships are left, you'll do a couple of weeks here, or you're left your own devices. We take it very, very seriously, which is quite cool, I think. So like I said, 3 years. When we're looking at your specializations, the kind of things we study in fashion, we look at the fashion retail industry. How do you assess a category? How do you understand your consumer? So lots of Excel is surprising. We do styling career direction. So that is actually developing a sketchbook, starting to understand how could you be a stylist? And that works in our diploma program. We look at brand strategy, and Glenn Fraser, who manages brand, he's been one of the top agency executives around London and Australia, and he just recently retired, and he's teaching that course to give you a little bit of perception of the caliber of our faculty. We do planning and buying. Lots of our students go into planning and buying. The course was actually written by a head buyer at the Iconic. We do strategy and operations. Mo, our lecturer there, he actually leads an operations department in a large consultancy. And we do visual merchandising and design. And Eva runs her own retail design company. So all of these units have been built with people that are in industry. Across your trimesters, you've got your core units, and I'll just conscious of time. We make sure you've got the foundations in business. And like I said, there's quite a lot of flexibility. And then in your second year, it's more around unlocking leadership and your industry placements. So typically in our second year, students start finding what they're passionate about, which is great. Okay. In your second year, you also get to do a couple of electives across the streams. And a few examples there. Typically our students in fashion, they love integrated marketing comms, which is advertising. It's great. You do a pitch. It's brilliant. Or you learn about event planning. We do lots of events here. We get you involved in that as well. But you can pick anything. I have lots of students that love gastronomy. And we do a wine tour, which is quite cool. So there's lots of flexibility in that. When it comes to your placement, we help you write your resume. We do interview skills. Mary Ann sitting at the back, if she wants to just give away, heads up our fashion and global brand management placements. and we'll help you how to dress. What are they looking for in terms of behavior in these industries, which is really important. And it gets you skill ready, which is great. We also look at, in terms of our industry placements, fashionistas don't like sharing their logos too much because, you know, it's luxury brands. But we'll talk, we've got Dior, we've had Fendi. Well, we have Fendi at the moment. We've looked at, I think, we've just started one with Westfield. We're looking at one with David Jones. We are working with, we like to think of it as the creme de la creme of retail, because that's where the degree is positioned. So when we jump into your final year, this is more reflection, and you get to do capstone in ethics and sustainability. Capstone is running a proper project, and you get to pick a subject, part of the sustainability goals of the UN, which is great. And you get to do 4 electives. And these electives, you can see, are quite vast. We've got everything from sustainability and fashion consumption, which is run by a lady, Karina, who's done her PhD and considered one of the experts in the space. We have got, if you're thinking, I want to do PR, Melissa very humbly hasn't told you this, but she's writing our fashion PR and media unit, which will be released next year. So that's very exciting. So lots of industry talks there. We also do e-commerce, of course, and you can cross over. So to give you an example of some of the popular ones, social content creation. So Guy Sherlock, another one of our lecturers, he's a working photographer and producer. He comes and runs those sessions on how to create content online that's effective. We've also got advanced social media. We look at things like blogging your way to fame, study tours, wherever your heart's desire. We cross over any program. So the beauty of that, very rarely do you have to have done prerequisites to do your 300 level electives. So have fun with it, really. You know, fashion is a diverse background, so have fun with it. And lastly, just looking at how to apply. You can apply directly. I strongly encourage it. So make sure that you visit the desk at the front of the stairs. We also do early entry, and we have a fairly extensive interview program. It's not all about results, it's about people and passion. Full disclosure, I was not the most amazing student at school, but I was, as soon as I got into a degree that I loved, I was the top of my class. So it's all about the passion and what you're interested in and practical learning, okay? And that's where we sort of prioritize our focus. There are alternative entry offers. With UAC, you do need to make sure ICMS is your first preference for that to work. So have a chat to the guys at the top of the stairs there. And when we're looking at our undergrad degrees, of course, we take in the main intakes. We have a trimester model, but we also do some subjects in the midterm intake as well. So you can come in February, you can decide to come in May. It's flexible. Okay, so if you want to go traveling a bit, completely understand that. That option's open to you. We also have a diploma as a pathway, so please have a chat to the Aspire Institute at the end of the hallway there. So you can do the first year of the fashion program as a diploma, and then transfer into the bachelor degree. Of course, I love the bachelor degree, but if you're still sort of working out what you want to do, we have a diploma there as well. And we offer all sorts of different areas. And like I said, because we have that core model, there's a lot of easy crossover. So you can do fashion, you can jump into marketing, you decide you're interested in entrepreneurship. It's completely up to you. So thank you very, very much. There's a little speedy spiel about fashion and global brand management. I love it. Our students seem to love it, I think. You can tell me that. And now I'm going to hand it back to Melissa as we continue our chat.
I'm back on. Can you hear me? Thank you, Nick. Now we've got actually a current student. You're in your second year, so you've still got another to go. So Julia Williams, I'm going to hand it over to you because you've got some great news. Plus, I think really we want to hear from you. I mean, obviously as a current student, I'm sure all our potential new students want to really know, literally from the, not the horse's mouth, but from the horse's mouth. Over to you, Julia Williams.
Hi everyone, my name's Julie. I'm currently the ICMS SRC president as well. I'm in my second year doing the fashion degree here. And I've actually just completed my internship at Christian Dior Couture. So going off that good news, I was actually offered a position there this week to work with them on a casual basis.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
I would wore a scarf, not knowing in her honour.
Yes, the scarf and the book tote. The book tote. I want the book tote. That's the next goal. Yes, I started at ICMS last year in February. I'm actually from Melbourne, so I didn't actually know about ICMS until about halfway through my final year of school. So I got a random email one day about scholarships from this institution, and I was like, what's this? Had a conversation with my parents the night before about being more open-minded about what I wanted to do. And at this point, I was very, very passionate about going to study law at Melbourne University. Fashion had always been a passion of mine, especially after watching The Devil Wears Prada. I wanted to be Miranda Priestley. Still is the goal. You will. Will be one day. But yes, I found this degree. I was actually like sitting in a math class doing a test. I should not have been opening this email, but I did anyway. And that night I went home and started my application for early entry. As soon as I read the title of the course, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. So unlike any other institution in the country, ICMS is one of the very few that offers a course that studies in both business and fashion. Now you'll come across a lot of fashion textile courses, but this is one of the very few that actually incorporates the business side, which is what I wanted to do. So I applied for early entry under leadership. Like Nicole mentioned, there's a few early entry options which I definitely recommend doing, especially considering ICMS doesn't even look at your ATAR, so it's good to have that secure acceptance before you go into your exam, so you can kind of relax a little bit. I don't know how you guys do it in Sydney. I know you have HSC, but in Melbourne we do it a little differently and everything's just a bit later. So it was quite chill walking into my exams once I had been accepted here, which was absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I moved onto campus last year in February. I definitely recommend doing it, even though I'm sure all of you are from Sydney, you're probably quite local. It is definitely a great opportunity to meet people by living on campus, even just for a couple of weeks. So I just highly recommend doing that. But as for the course itself, I've been studying a lot in the past year and a half. I did accelerate one of my terms as well because I was so infatuated with the industry. While I was on my placement, one of my terms I was doing a couple of classes on the side, so I was still learning and applying those skill sets. And yeah, it's just been an incredible opportunity. Everything that has sort of happened in the last year and a half, I still can't believe that I have been offered this position at Dior. It's absolutely crazy to think that all of this has happened. But yeah.
Not crazy, because you put the hard yards in. I think, and particularly big multinationals like that, they want people on board who are willing to learn the logistics of fashion and not just be play pretty shop girl. There's a lot more to it, and I think that is very much with the big brands globally, and I'm finding also with a lot of Australian brands too. The staff they have on board in their stores. It's not just a matter of sitting behind the cash register hoping someone comes in. You actually really do need to know, the business side of the business, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the best parts about the Will Placement Program here at ICMS is that in this day and age, internships or just work experience in general in the industry, when you're applying for a job, it is a requirement. And there are a lot of people who struggle to find employment once they finish their degree because they've just been studying for the past 3-4 years. And they haven't actually had that work experience. So it is a foot in the door, and that's one of the benefits of it all. So my internship was about 8-9 months working in PR and marketing at Dior. And I was not expecting to be offered this job at all. I still keep saying it. I was not expecting it. I actually finished last Friday, and then 4 days later received a phone call that they needed me back because it just wasn't the same.
Well, I remember there was a big Dior event was that last year or this year?
It was this year.
This year, yeah. And I walked in,
Yeah.
And there's Julie, like working
Yeah.
there with, with all the team. And it gave me such a thrill. I've had nothing at all to do with that. But it was really nice to see that sort of, the in action, what ICMS does do. 1 minute, you're probably literally working here, maybe that day. But then that night, you were part of the team who were sort of welcoming guests and helping with sort of just getting the whole event together. And, that was, for me, a really proud moment. And again, I think it reiterates the fact that, that percentage of people who do end up working in their chosen field, and I think that happens not a lot with I guess a lot of universities or colleges, or that sure you can learn, but that work experience, and I know that's something that I had when I was growing up. I was studying, but I was working at that stage at Myer in their PR department, but that was work experience. So it was this, I worked and I worked and I worked, and I was going out every night like we all did.
Yep.
But we didn't need sleep in those days.
No.
So it's a great congratulations
Thank
to
you.
you.
Yeah.
So Nicole, with I guess obviously everyone here. So everyone here, I'm assuming, is still. Are you all in Year 12? All of the students, yeah. So Nicole, what I know you've already spoken about what the course is about. Mm-hmm. What would be, I guess, the top 5 things that a student will take away from having done once they do finish, if they do the 3-year degree, business degree?
I think the number one thing is industry experience.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a low-hanging fruit on that question. We're obsessed with industry experience. After that, because all of our lecturers are in field, and I'm smiling at one at the moment, they bring real-life experience to the classroom every day. So it is subjects that, clients they're working on at the moment, which is great. And I love the fact, I actually say to my students, build your portfolio, save this slide. This slide you're going to need when you're doing an advertising pitch and they say do a brand wheel. Mm-hmm. So we do encourage our students, it's not just about the work placement, but there's industry in every single interaction in what we do. Outside of that, we're a very strong community. You can see here, you really play it down. Like I said, high achiever. But we're a very strong community, and I love the fact that, yes, we're in fashion, but some of my best, my best friends are teaching sport, and I love the fact that we do get to know each other, which is lovely. And that sense of community, of being on the castle of the hill, it's a nice place to be, it's a nice vibe. Outside of that, I think the kind of experiences, you've put me on the spot with 5. I'm used to my 3.
Oh, just do 3.
Yeah. No, I'll do it both. I'm famous for, it's like 3 tips. If you watch any videos online, Nicole's like, here are 3 things. I think as well, it's just support. And, we have this conversation, and I had a chat with another student a couple of weeks ago. It's just support from people that genuinely care. And this sounds like a sales pitch, but we sit down and you tell us what you're passionate about, and we say, okay, cool, how do we help you? Who do we know? And even with the industry masterclasses, Melissa and I sit there and we're like, all right, who's going to be cool? Who's going to inspire the students? Who are they interested? Yeah. I don't know half of them. I sat and did a focus group with my fashion students, and I was like, right, I'm old, brilliant. So, but we're sitting there and we're looking at the bloggers and who people genuinely care about, and that's why the likes of PE Nation come up. So it is about, it's about community and industry, but it's also, it's personalised to what you're passionate about, which I think is really important. Yeah.
And Julie, I was just thinking, you say you live on campus. I guess maybe that might be something you might want to talk a little bit about, because I would imagine perhaps most of our students here today are from Sydney or New South Wales. I really don't know. But if not, what is it? I mean, was that initially sort of a bit daunting to sort of move up from Melbourne and, living on campus and not really knowing a soul?
Yeah, so when I moved to Sydney, I didn't know anyone, have no family, nobody up here at all. It was just me on my own. So my parents came, dropped me off, and then they went back to Melbourne. It was just me, and I was left here anyway. So I am a very loud, energetic, enthusiastic person, but when I first moved here, first 3 days, I was quiet as a mouse. Like, I was just so nervous, like young 18-year-olds, the first time living on my own in another state, like can't really drive home. It's about 10 hours. So but the best part is you're all in the same boat. Every single resident here has left home regardless of where they're from. And they might be, I don't know, they might be from Penrith. We had one of those last year. They might be from Mossman, you never know. But a lot of internationals and interstate students as well who come in, and all of you are away from home, you're away from your families, you don't know anyone. And it's just such an easy environment to slide into and start connecting with people and building those friendships. And the advantage of it is you all meet before classes start, so you have time to get to know each other. And then when all the term starts and all the other students start showing up, you're already comfortable and confident enough to go talk to them and build more connections with people. And it's the best thing. I remember when I first moved on last year, the first 2 weeks, all of us were kind of awkward with each other, so we'd just go to the basketball courts and play basketball every single night after dinner for about 3-4 hours. Now, none of us were any good at it, but after about 2 weeks of doing it every single day, you kind of pick up a few skills. And it's just one of those things that I'll remember forever. Yeah. And yeah, you make friends for life here. That's definite.
Yeah, and I think that's a really interesting point, because there might be some people who are living in New South Wales or within a walking distance of here who might choose to do that, because it does create a whole new new environment. It is a start then of a total new sort of living journey. I hate that word, but like a whole way of living.
Yeah, and if you're after the independence together as well.
Well, Nick, you might have a sort of a figure on this with students living on campus. What is sort of the percentage? So of overall students, so what percentage of overall students live on campus?
On campus. And I think I'm starting to get the
We'll get the wine down there.
Yeah.
Maybe the last one.
We have I think it's about 200 to 300 students living on campus at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
So it is a large portion of
and all
our
around the
cohort.
same age, obviously, too.
Yeah, of course.
19,
Oh,
20.
yeah.
Typically.
Most of the internationals are doing their postgrad or masters, so they are a bit older, but all the undergrads are around the same. But yeah, next term's going to be full house.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
There's a question, I think, from our...
Do subject choices matter whilst your high school subject choices matter at all?
Oh, of course, I marked up, don't I? Sorry, so do subject choices matter at high school? No, not really. It's very much about what you're passionate in. And like Jules is saying, she was going to do law.
Yeah.
And suddenly said, well, actually, fashion is where I want to be. So it's much more about, no, you're fine.
That's good. So if you've done, geology, and you decide to do fashion business in there.
I mean, if you've done geology, then that's a new skill you can bring to the table.
Exactly. Jewelry manufacturing.
Are they individual rooms?
Yeah, so, obviously when I joined, we were still coming out of COVID, so all of the rooms were individual. I think the option to do roommates will be coming back next term, or is already currently happening.
So is it an option?
It should be an option, yeah. So yeah, there's individual, there's double, triple, quadruple as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just say this year, how many people were in this numbers in the course this year?
In the fashion, so how many people in the fashion course this year? So at the start of this year, we had, I think it was about 40 new starters, 40. New starters for this course, and then across the cohort, I manage around 130 students for fashion. Yeah, so it's small enough that there's a community, a bit like a school year, but certainly room for things. I think last question. Yeah.
Hi, Julie.
Oh,
Hi, congratulations.
thank you.
I just wanted to know, what did your parents think when you said you wanted to do fashion instead of law?
Well, law was a big build-up for about 4 years, and so when the switch happened to fashion, it was a bit of a shock, but they were really supportive. It was more of just like checking and being like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Because the dream was originally to go to America to study law, actually. Then COVID happened, and so I was looking at Melbourne unis, and then yeah, found fashion a bit of a hobby and a passion during lockdown. So yeah, went with it, and I'm really happy that I did. And everything as well that's sort of happened, all their support as well with moving, everything like that. And they've seen everything that's happened, especially after this week as well. It's more proud.
And you glad you made that choice? You don't regret it?
I don't regret it. I wanted more independence, and I knew I needed to, otherwise I was going to be at home forever. And so it was kind of like, I was like, I need to go and explore the world and kind of take on the next journey. I'm very glad I did. It's been an incredible experience.
Cool. All right, I think we better move to the next one.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. And I hope I'm sure through Julie and through Nicole, you learnt the raw basics of what it would be like to be starting here next year. And if you do, you'll be seeing all of us. So I think that's, that's encouragement enough.
I think so.
We'll take you to some great things and you can meet great people.
Exactly.
That'll be my spiel. Anyway, so thank you. Have a good day. And I'm sure you're going around to having a look at everything else. So thank you for coming.
Thanks, everyone.